says suspended from the team in school, NCAA should disallow his participation in sports, should be criminally charged, and the ref should seek a civil claim against him. Holly, what happens when you sue a kid?
Well, when you sue a kid, we go back to like his parents' deep pockets and insurance, right? So I really think that this guy messed up. His team is actually out of the playoffs. So I think that's actually hitting everyone where it hurts. I know that we've had a lot of the 13th jurors say, listen, it needs to just don't penalize the team. But actually, when you take the team out of the playoffs, you're sending a message to every potential hothead out there and says, you're going to ruin it for everybody. And I actually think that's more effective. I mean, obviously, this person has committed an assault and should be prosecuted under the law. But what's really more effective is if you ruined it for your teammates, for your team, for your school. Now, everybody in that school is going to look to you and say, you ruined this for everybody. And I think that's going to send a message to any future kid who wants to try this move again. And let's be honest, these guys are in full pads, and you're, a defenseless person being blindsided. He's a huge kid. He's like a trained, not killer, but he's supposed to really impact someone who's also wearing pads. It's very, very dangerous. But I think that the consequence of taking the team out of the playoffs is going to have the desired effect.
Yeah, that's what you call general deterrence. All right, Judy tonight writes, he doesn't need to play high school sports ever again. He has pretty well ruined his chances of college sports, too. If the school knew he had been violent before, they should hold some responsibility, too. The parents should be called into question, too. Maybe the school should check out more than an ability to play. Eric, do you see any liability on the part of the school? I mean, this referee is collarbone, potential concussion. I mean, he got hurt. You look at that hit, he gets lifted into the air, crashing to the ground. But how about the school?
Well, I think actually Judy, the commenter, sort of hit the nail on the head. If the school knew he had a violent propensity, then it could potentially be a negligent supervision claim, but you'd have to prove notice. If the ref really wanted to pursue a civil claim against the school, ideally the kid would have told the coach or something, I'm going to steamroll the ref if things don't go our way tonight. I mean, if he still lets him in the game and lets him suit up and go play, they might actually have a case for negligent supervision under that circumstance. But absent that, I don't think that any attorney is going to be able to prove notice.
Next one comes from Mark. Same as any other person who gets charged with a Class A felony, assault, court fine, possible jail time, also possible ban from playing for a time. Not sure he should be banned forever. After all, he's a high school player. We all do make mistakes. Brian, there's someone else talking about the age, the youth. I looked at that kid. I mean, he's a big kid. I mean, I think 6'4", 240. That's a big, big kid, but maybe the brain needs to catch up.
Well, I don't know if it's his brain needs to catch up. I think he knows what he did was wrong. I think he doesn't know how to control his emotions. And there's a lot of people in sports, and a lot of people out here that don't know how to control their emotions. And that's a problem, just like we saw in the movie theater, and that's what it leads to. So people need to learn how to control their emotions, and he has to be held accountable.
Great analogy, by the way. All right, Suzanne tonight, school should be held liable too, because that behavior doesn't come from just anywhere. He had to have been a troublemaker on and off the field. Coach didn't appropriately control his player by benching him even when it hurts the team. To teach this kid some respect. Holly, you're in Texas. I mean, this is the biggest game in town, football. How is this playing in Texas tonight?
Well, it's really interesting because actually this player was like the district's defensive player of the year before in 2019. This is a person who's been lauded by his community. And in Texas, that's a really big deal. And so I think that actually this is an interesting, if we really want to delve into the psychology of this, it's really interesting because we have players like Antonio Brown. We have players that are actually punching each other in the helmets on the field in the NFL. So we've got an anger management problem across many different ages in this entire sport. And so I think it's an issue of how do we manage it? Who are we punishing? If Antonio Brown is playing right now while his civil cases are pending, I'm sure we're going to talk about that in future Court TV episodes. I'd love to hear about what you have to say about that. Yeah, but we've got an anger problem all across the board.
Holly Davis, we're out of time. Thank you so much. Awesome. Eric Subin, Brian Watkins, great to see everyone. Have a great weekend. I'm Vinny Politan. We'll be here Monday, 8 to 11 with your front row seat to justice.